Hello YouTube, this is Steve from Glasses Gaming here with you after playing The Walking Dead Episode 4 Amid the Ruins. And wow, I gotta say, it was definitely, I think, in my mind, one of the stronger episodes of the Walking Dead universe. I'd say it's probably my favorite episode of Season 2. And yeah, now that we have to end on the cliffhanger, we have to, start to wonder where is this series going to go for the finale. And so I'm here with you to present a few options that I've considered and, some of the paths that some of the characters might take in the future and maybe how Telltale's going to wrap this whole thing up. So bear with me that I just have a few sort of theories going on right now, and I'll just name those off to you. Okay, so my first theory is that Christa ends up returning in the finale, and she is sort of, I wouldn't say broken, but she's definitely, doing bad, because we know whether or not you chose to help her that she's going to have, some problems with her leg. She got stabbed, but I do think that she survived that encounter with those bandits in the forest in episode 1. So there is a possibility that she comes back, and I think after the encounter with Arvo and his crew, I think everyone in the crew in your group is going to end up dead. So that leaves the baby in your care, and then Christa will come back and see the baby, and then I think that will they'll hit it off. Because Christa, as everyone knows, lost her baby in episode 1. So I think that would be sort of fulfilling for her to find this new baby, sort of as, like a second chance at, parenthood. So her and Clem would just, sort of ride off into the sunset for season 2. I think that would be the best case scenario because, after this episode, after all the dreariness of, Amid the Ruins, watching, spoiler alert, Sarah die and Jane leave the group, it's getting really, really dark. So if they ended on, a high note like that, I think that would be a spectacular finish. But they probably won't because they're Telltale and they always have to, leave you on a somber note. So another theory that I have is Mike, who is actually, I think, one of my favorite characters in this new episode, turning into sort of like a Lee figure for Clementine. And he becomes, the guardian, care holder. And he's the one who, takes leadership after everyone sort of dies in that, crossfire with Arvo's crew. So I'd say, Mike and Clementine and the baby are the only survivors. And, they're stuck in, a prison or something or being held captive by Arvo and his crew. So I think that he would, sort of become, a new Lee and possibly, lead Clementine to safety, help her escape, and, become, sort of a new family. Just her, Clementine, the baby, and Mike. So hopefully that also is more of an uplifting ending to this, series that they can choose. Okay, so theory number 3. Clementine is forced to escape on her own as Arvo and, the Russian people who I don't really know their names right now, but they try to take the baby as their own, and Clementine has to escape from their clutches as well as save the baby. So that would be sort of an interesting climax or, conclusion to the series because these are completely new characters. So we don't know a thing about them, what they want, whether or not Arvo really does have a dying sister or not. So basically a lot of this is sort of speculation about, the whole group and what they're really after. So Clementine might have to sort of fight her way to save the baby, who is now the new priority in the group, and also try to save herself along the way. So, in that case, or everyone dies in the fire, well, not the fire, the gun fight, except for her and the baby. I think that would be sort of a very, that would be the hardest moment in Clementine's life, is now that everyone's gone except for her and the baby, and they'd have to fight their way out. So I think that would be an interesting plot twist if that's where Telltale wants to go with it. Another decision that I think Telltale can make was that whether or not, because it's going to happen eventually, whether or not Kenny or Luke is the one that you decide to eventually side with. Because that's been sort of the theme of the series, whether or not you're going to side with Kenny or Luke. Even from the first moments when you reunite with Kenny and you're sitting in that cabin with, all the survivors and you have to choose which table to sit at, that Telltale has been building up to this moment for a long time. And now I think it's finally going to pay off. Or at least it could possibly pay off. I'm not sure whether or not, like, it's going to be set up more of, like, who do you save, who's going to die situation, or whether or not maybe, like, the season ends on, like, the two, like, survivors going their separate ways, and you have to choose which, pathway you go down in the finale, whether or not to just keep going on with Kenny, who possibly could, like, take custody of the baby if he survives the gunfight, or Luke, who's more of, like, a loose cannon. Well, not really a loose cannon, but more of, like, a morally justifiable character in the series who, is less violent, but, is more of, survival, but also being cautious. So, it's a difficult choice in the end, because I like both of the characters, but if Telltale really did pull that on us and, do like a Kenny versus Luke for the finale, choice, the final decision, I think that would be, a very, very strong conclusion to a strong season. And the last theory that I have, which I swear I really wouldn't forgive Telltale if they did this, I hope this doesn't happen, but if they forced you to decide whether or not to kill the zombified baby. Now, I really don't think they'll do this, but if they really got so dark as to, kill off the baby, that would be an impossible choice to make. Whether or not to actually, kill the zombified baby out of mercy, or maybe just, like, let it live. I don't really know how they would work that, but it's going to be difficult for the baby to survive in this post-apocalyptic future, and I really don't know how Clementine will be able to, support her and the baby on her own. So that could be a really difficult choice, whether or not to, let the baby keep on living, or, like, if it gets bitten, or just sort of doesn't survive the winter. That is all, like, that would all be an incredible conclusion. And, like, it would really suck, to be perfectly honest, because, this season's been going downhill fast. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of, like, hope. Like, nearly everything that ended in Amid the Ruins just completely crushed any of Clementine's hope. Like, after the baby was born, you thought things were going up and thought things were getting better, but then Jane leaves, then Rebecca is shot by either you or Kenny, and then the gunfire, you don't know who's surviving. I think that Telltale is really delving into some deep, dark, depressing stuff here, even further than they've ever gone. So I hope that maybe they can end, no going back on a positive note, or maybe they just keep doing what they do best and, keep killing off important characters and keep, forcing you into some possible situations. But no matter what they choose, I know that this finale is going to be fantastic, and I know that everyone should be on the lookout for it whenever they release, the final date of, the final episode. I hope that everyone goes out and plays that, because I really think it's going to be something fantastic, and they're really going to, no matter what decisions they end up forcing you to make, I know that it's going to be something truly remarkable, and hopefully the quality of, season 1 ending. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what No Going Back will be like. Maybe, maybe Jane will return, maybe some more questions will be answered in terms of, like, the future of the baby, the future of Clementine, how she matures. But no matter what, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.